welcome to the Limited Adhesion GT3 League Season 6 now. Back with familiar faces, familiar friends and familiar commentary team. Once again you're joined with Chris and Random Dave. How are you this evening, Dave?
I'm alright. I've got a glass of wine, well, a bottle of wine and trifle.
That is a classy combination. Absolutely classic combination from Dave, and again a classic combination on the iRacing service, as we've got Spa and GT3s, which is ever present on the service. So season 6, it's a new season, and we've got a couple of new drivers joining us, as well as familiar faces who we've seen from seasons past. I think one of the new drivers is Simone Grau, who is going to be in the Club 1500 as we see him there. So welcome aboard, Simone from Italy. Nice rims on the car there as well, driving the Lambo. We've got familiar faces as well, so we've got the likes of Ollie Walker, as we see there, set a good time in the practice results. Lee Harding joins us once again, and of course the familiar A team with David Lyne and Rob Miller. Rick Barrow, of course, back as well for Whisky time. Dan Shaw and Mark Innes both moved up into the top split this time after the good showings last season, Club 1500. We've got Mark Zeff there, and of course Simone. Dan Hill joins us this time on GT3s, as well as Damon Mitchell, who I believe is new to our league. So welcome aboard, Damon. Familiar faces in the South African contingent as well with the Gerber duo. So we're going to see who takes pole position in the qualifying. It's indeed Ollie Walker for Alpha Esports with 217.4, closely followed by Lee Harding. Evan Conception making a return to the league, and he's on a 0.2 behind Ollie. Hopefully he'll have a better race, because I believe he had a spin or some issues last time round at Spa. Rob Miller in 4th, Rick Barrow in 5th, David Lyne takes 6th, Dan Shaw in 7th, Don Parker, nice to see him, in 8th. Stephen Maxwell, who we have high hopes for this season, again in 9th. Simon Garreau takes 10th and indeed pole position for the clubbers, with Dan Hill in 2nd, Mark Zeff in 3rd. Ollie Ettridge down the order a little bit with Mark Innes and Paul Gerber, and we see Joe Barlow I just seen there as well, so welcome Joe into, I think we've seen him in the open wheelers, so he's joining us in the GT3s, so welcome aboard Joe. So Dave, new season as we see them getting lined up. We've talked about favourites prior to the season open. Would you go with Ollie Walker potentially, because we haven't seen Steve Greening or Michael Messenger on this lineup yet?
He's not here, is he? Ollie won last season, and his iRating's got about over 4,000 now.
Wow.
But he's in the Lambo. Look, not a Beamer.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, and speaking of that, he gets the Lambo right down after the corner and gets the green lights glowing. And we're underway, season 6 of GT3s. Familiar green paint scheme of the Risky Time boys. See if there's going to be any collisions going down into Erosion Radion. Seem to be in single file order for the most part. Fairly clean start for the season, which is great. I do recall last season we did have a few incidents on the first lap. Straight into the slipstream fest. That's Evan Conception making his way up the order. Is he going to get the job done round the outside? Indeed he does. Well done, Evan. Great move around the outside.
He was quite low down in the in practice, but I think it wasn't qualifying run. The Audi's supposed to be much better relative this season, and the Beamer's gone a little bit. It's been bopped a little bit, and the Lambo. Right. So Lambo and the Audi are a little more popular, I think. So in the top split, it's not all just Beamers now.
All right, so that's great to hear. And interestingly, no Mercs I can see at the moment, so that's been thrown in the trash can.
Yeah, unfortunately, Rick.
Whoa, that's Evan. Evan's gone off into the barrier. He's lost control of the car there.
So the Audi's fast, but it still kills you.
Yeah, we've just established that. That's unbelievable. And Evan did have issues at this track last season, so once again, as we see, Simon Garot in first place in the clubbers. He's being stalked by Stephen Maxwell, trying to make up positions into the top split order. Fairly clean start, apart from that issue with Evan, unfortunate for him. We can see White has dropped the order a little bit, but otherwise they've kept fairly steady.
I'd be amazed if everybody gets through here. They did, yeah. Nobody free started. They didn't last season. Didn't half the field spin off from that?
Yeah, there's multiple incidents at this point of the track. So, and there's a dive by one of the wizards on a teammate there. So Ollie Walker regains the lead. Yeah.
So Lee must have had an off track then. He's now
he's dropped. Yeah, he's dropped. And we see a whole throng of cars there stacking up behind Dan Shaw and possibly his teammate Mark Innes. So interesting to see how those two are going to fare this time round. It's a little bit of a step up, but got confidence in them that they will no doubt pick up some good positions. So that's Ollie Ettridge there in the unfamiliar position lower down the order, as we see Rick Barrow just stalking along.
That's Lee getting a slowdown.
Yeah, he's had to let them all go past. That's why he dropped. Was that David Line just had to fit in behind?
I don't think he completely served it on the straight, so he had to serve it a little bit more afterwards.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Ollie Ettridge in a blue livery this time round. Fairly clean start for him.
Yeah, he's quite far down, isn't he? He's pretty good at Spa, isn't he? Didn't he have pole there last third season?
You could be right. Yeah.
I was saying everybody managed to get through here unscathed, but actually no, it's not the case because
this is what happened. Yeah, what happened to Evan.
I forget.
Pouon. Yeah. That's rather unfortunate for Evan, but might make his way back up. He is a very rapid driver. On the back of David Line here with looks like Lee Harding on his tail. Is he going to be brave and try and make the move?
He may have slowed down the Beamer, but it still hangs on really well around the fast corners.
Yeah, and I guess Line is a little bit wary of that corner as well, given his experience there before, if I do recall.
I think he's failed to finish half of the races at Spa because of that corner.
So Simon's still keeping Maxwell behind, but he set the fastest lap of his split, so it's a good lap from him. Great start from the debutant. Not seeing too many brave moves or risky moves, for taking it cautious in the first part of the season, which is, we don't normally see that. Normally people like to jockey for position and set themselves up and kind of put their case out to be the favourite. But it does look like Walker and Barrow are stretching out from Miller and the rest of the pack. Don Parker's up to 4th, so he just went up about 4 positions.
Yeah, really good start. But surprises here is Rick, as well as Don Parker as well. But yeah, I mean Rick qualified 5th or something. Half a second off, and now he's still challenging Walker.
Yeah, we can't count out the duo of Rick Barrow and Lee Harding. We've seen before, prior to last season, how quickly they could be. Especially now they're in their familiar cars.
Are they? That's the thing. That they, I don't think. I mean, Rick is in the BMW, and I don't think he's a massive fan of it. I think they were in the Audi, Porsche, and Lambo, weren't they, the first year and the first season? And then they both switched to the Merc and had a terrible time. Everybody else is the BMW, so they thought, well, let's just go for the BMW. And and it turns out that they've just jumped into a BMW whilst when it's been slightly disadvantaged.
Yeah, slightly nerfed.
But I think he's second. So
yeah, it can't be that bad. It's definitely a stable car. On board Mark Innes taking a sneaky peek at Ollie Ettridge. a lot of these guys would have probably been in the recent Daytona 24 hour. I'm not sure if any of them were in the kind of GT class, but certainly some of them we did see taking part. Some unlucky results from, I think it was Mike Messenger actually in his team, who made I think it was a last lap incident that cost him a podium position. And that's Simon moving out of the way, almost coming into contact with Mark Zeff. So they're going to jockey for first position in Club 1500. Mark gets on top this time round. Of course, some names are missing from this season. They seem to be taking part in the other additional open wheeler championship we have, which, if you're interested in that, no doubt there'll be videos coming up soon for that championship. And if indeed if you want to come and join that race, or indeed this one, just jump into our Discord and sign up. Fairly easy process. As we see Rick Barrow, he's off. Wow, what happened there? It's a bit of a weird place to go off. Maybe he took too much of the curve, or I'm not sure.
All of all his challenges seem to be just falling off the track.
Yeah.
It's now put Rob in the second.
Brave move there by Dan Shaw, diving straight in on Mark. Ollie thought better of it. Yeah, but good move there. It was brave but fair. Driving on the edge, Dan Shaw indeed. Almost lost it, but in fact he's lost the position to Mark. Onboard view, he's managed to hold it and didn't go off into the barriers, which is good. Still in play. Yeah, this is how Rick lost it. Just wow.
He must have caught a curb or something. Maybe see that? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, back wheels. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just on the entry there. If you go too far to left, you catch that curb, you spin it.
Yeah, pushing it to the limit there. But
got to keep to the middle of the track and then compromise the next corner just a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. There's Paul Gerber. I've seen this livery. It looks very nice. Great to see Paul back in our league. So he's currently sitting in 9th position, not too far behind. I think it's Innes and Ettridge. And of course, the other Gerber, we've got Du Gerber. He's currently sitting in 8th in the Clubbers. And he's right behind Rich Meesters, who we haven't seen so much of yet. Right, Rob Miller is in 2nd, and Don Parker is up into the lofty heights of 3rd. So this is going to be an interesting battle. We don't normally see those two battle, especially in the GT3s at least. Anyway, so that's going to be interesting to see if Dom can keep up pace. And Dan Shaw battling with Paul Gerber for 9th.
Well, I mean,
keeping it round the outside there.
I think Dom qualified 7th or something, but he's got good race pace.
Yeah, it's great. Not too much battling going on in the Club 1500. I guess some pack racing seen to that, but I say that there's a battle on for 3rd, and we see them in the background. So that's that gaggle of cars is Dan Hill.
So is that
Joe Barlow?
Is that Rick flashing them there because he's trying to he's trying to? Well, it's like this is from position, mate. Like they don't. Look at those trees.
Yeah, look at those trees. That's I don't know, a bit for carbon neutrality there. It's promoting the trees. Lovely camera shot.
Yeah.
So that's Dan Hill, Damon Mitchell, the new guy here. Joe Barlow, Chris White. And it was indeed Rick Barrow who was getting caught in there. Parker's got Lee Harding on his tail as well, and that is indeed David Line just lurking in the background. We'll be looking to pick up on any errors by the other drivers.
It's, pretty close between these four.
Yeah, it is indeed. In fact, Harding in line second there, fastest laps of the race, as well as Maxwell. Yeah, this is Rick Barrow trying to make his way through some traffic. Oh, he's went very wide, and indeed, wow, he's on his bonnet there. Wow, that's an interesting shape of a car.
Wow. I mean, to be fair, I didn't ever really know what was out. I've never been out there, but that's what's out there. A bump.
Yeah, that's. I've never seen that happen in that area of the track before.
It's going out in style, though.
Interesting detail. At least the rear view camera also shows that it's upside down as well. So that's a great detail from iRacing. And this is Dan Shaw making a move on Paul Gerber. Getting around there. Damien Mitchell trying to protect his third place. He's got a little bit way up to make to Simone. So this is going to cost these guys a little bit of time, but yeah, and of course the two teammates, Dan Hill and Joe Barlow.
It's giving Ollie quite an easy time of it, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, I was just going to say the gap is slightly increased. So yeah, he's got a bit of breathing space.
It's hanging around those 2 seconds, but yeah, I mean, knowing Ollie, he's probably not pushing to the maximum, just a few tenths off maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. So, will Lee Harding look to make a move going into the chicane? Is Don going to protect it? It's just.
He backed out that he wasn't close enough. He was, when he did it online, he was pretty much, he had his nose in, didn't he?
There they are. Now bunching together, these four. It's going to be interesting as the pit stops quickly approach, how that's going to play out as well, of course. So looks like the field is starting to spread out into their kind of individual battles. As we see, that's Paul Gerber off. So he must have had a small spin. Mark Zeff setting the fastest lap for Club 1500, so there's a 2:19.1. No further slowdowns from this lot, so they can power on up the straight. As they spread out trying to get the jockey for position. That's very close between those two. Is Dom going to have enough power to get round in?
This is going to be line's going to be catching up quite soon here as well.
Wow, great move from Dom, managed to keep the power on the outside, and that's also going to allow Lee Harding possibly. They're going to get very, very close.
It's often a way, isn't it? You lose one position and it just sort of makes you all crossed up and then you can lose another.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Rob Miller. He's got his teammate chasing him as well.
A-team swap cars. They were in a BMW last season, now they're both in a Lambo.
Yeah, it's a bit of a difference. What were they before that? Because I think wasn't last season they just moved to the BMW, didn't they?
Yeah, I think that I don't think they were in the same. I don't think they were in the same team prior to that. But I think Line was in.
He was in his golden chariot.
Yeah, he was in a golden McLaren.
Yeah. This is still the ongoing battle for third in the clubbers. So Mitchell and Barlow having a tussle, and that's Dan Hill, White, and Meesters. And that's White going around the outside of Dan Hill. Meesters we haven't seen too much of, but he's right up there. Yeah, this is what happened to Paul Gerber. Yeah, familiar place where this goes wrong, especially in a Porsche.
It's so tricky because it's just one of those corners where it's flat, but only on the right line, right? In most cars, and just take it slightly wrong, you can be off, or just get your wheels slightly on a curb.
Yeah, and we just see that Dan Hill was having an excursion into the grass, which cost him a couple of positions and got him into that battle between White and Meesters. It's quite an interesting battle going on with those guys, all very similar pace. Joe Barlow's there, so nice to see him in the GT3 league. We've seen him in the F3s, so it's great to see him in a similar level of competing with the likes of Dan and Chris as well, Rich. So Train forming up behind Parker. They are very bunched, aren't they? They've lost about half a second to Walker. Further down the order in Club 1500, we've got Steve Pepper. He's welcome back with the DSR team, and Sean Clark is there as well. So not forgetting Sean. I think he's in a kind of white livery. We'll no doubt see him at some point.
I mean, Lee's been pretty patient here, but I think he fancies he's got the pace of Ollie, doesn't he?
Yeah, he might be happy just to sit back and let Dom do the pulling for the time being, at least. So Dan Hill trying to regain that position from White. He takes a loop down the inside, but thinks better of it. We've got Paul Gerber just in the background there, trying to make his way through some traffic. I do like that paint scheme. It's quite catching. So
which one's
I wonder if it's Paul Gerber's. It looks like it's. He can correct me, of course. It might be a South African inspired one. Looking at it looks similar to the South African rugby team, I guess, a little bit. Dan Hill again looking to see if he can make a move. White going slightly wide. Is he going to go defensive into that corner? No, not too bad. He goes wide though, and that's going to allow Dan Hill to, as we see Simone going into the pits, and White having a bit of a moment in the background. That's allowed Meesters, Gerber, and of course Dan Hill through. White wouldn't be too happy with that mistake. It's allowed a decent bunch of cars to go past. And at the top end of the top split, still these four battling away. Mark Innes is not far behind Ollie Ettridge. I've just seen on the timing boards, so he's still there or thereabouts to get 7th position. Maxwell seems to be out on his own for the time being.
Yeah, they're not driving away from Miller. Right? No, he's sort of 5-6 tenths off. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, so Paul Gerber's managed to get round Rich Meesters. And as we were just seeing there, Mark Innes on the tail of Ollie Ettridge. Harding almost making a move on Parker. He's got the inside which turns to the outside. Yeah, he's going to have to think again, and that's allowing the 18 boys just to close up that ever so slightly. Lyon will be quite happy here. He's doesn't have to push. In fact, we just heard a slight lift as well.
Slight lift.
Yeah. So yeah, he'll be enjoying that. Yeah, you have to watch out for that. Oh, yeah. As I said, you have to watch out for that sausage curb on the left. Dom, I think, might have got a rear wheel just caught on that, and that's allowed Harding to take the inside line, going into La Source. Seems to get the job done.
The line's close enough for a tow here, and well, they're all close enough for a tow to each other, aren't they, really?
Yeah, definitely. No team orders from the A-team, do you think?
No, but I think they just tried to be quite gentlemanly, really. I think. Yeah. I think they've only punted each other off once, and it was only a very slight touch.
Yeah, Line just moving out of the toe a little bit just to bring the speed of the car down. As we're going to see a replay. Dom. Yeah, he just caught himself on the sausage curve.
That's enough.
We've all been there.
Just a little bit too early on the throttle as well.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah, it's fine margins between these four. And there's Sean Clark, familiar livery from last season. And that's Paul Gerber getting back from. I wonder if Paul's pitted actually, because he did have a bit of an incident.
Did we see something happen to Maxwell?
No, I haven't.
Because he was in 6th, sorry.
Yeah,
and
he was. He's dropped down, hasn't he?
And,
that's interesting.
It's not far enough to be a pit.
No, that's a good spot actually. So something must have happened to him, because Adhesion and Innis have gone past. And that's Rob Miller. Whoa. Flashbacks to last season. He's going to have to try and drag it into the pits.
Will he drive that back in? Can he get it in? It's pretty broken.
In fact, the A-Team garage is going to be pretty busy as David Lyne opts to take his pit stop.
I think Lyne had to go really wide to avoid Rob and got a slowdown. So thought may as well use that as an opportunity.
Yeah, it's good decision making there. So that corner's now affected 2 of the top split, as we see White and Meester's coming together there. That's a bit of a weird one. I'll no doubt see a replay.
I'm guessing that he felt that he was responsible, so
stop and wait until he got near the track. So Lee Harding's back up to 2nd, but he's got Parker on him, so
he's only 2.2 behind Walker as well, so
the gap's close.
Walker must have made a mistake or something, or he's just
possibly a slowdown.
Oh, so it's this Line out the pits then, so Line would be hoping he's not going to get too much trouble. He's got 1 car in front of him there.
Yeah, he's got Damon Mitchell to get past, but he's managed to get out in front of the team of Dan Hill and Joe Barlow, so that's gonna at least save some time for him. Rob Miller's still listed as in the pits. It's interesting.
He's out now,
he's out now. That was Mark Innes. I wonder if Miller had to tow. That's why it took so long. Yeah, it must be. Ollie Etridge has got caught up in that incident with Mark Innes. He's going to have to tow as well for some reason. Bit of a strange one. And Harding starting to pull away from Parker. It's going to be interesting to see where David Lyne comes out when the pit stops have all shaken out.
It's going to be costing him.
He wants to get past. He wants to get past Mitchell. Yeah, he wants to get past Mitchell ASAP.
But the thing is, with BMW's like the strongest car through that. It's
so much grip.
To be down the main straight.
Yeah, it does. It's closing in very quick. That shows kind of the difference in lap times between the top split and some of the clubbers, and very late on the brakes. As Damon takes his pit stop.
Can catch the top split drivers out a little bit.
Yeah, that's what happened to Rob Miller. Yeah, once it goes, there's not much you can do about it. And this is David Lyne's view. Yeah, to take a wide line. And this is what happened to Rich Meesters and Chris White. Rob just, possibly Rich may have got his rears in a little bit of a spin just tried to correct himself and had to put on the brakes and nowhere to go for white. A bit unfortunate. I guess it was a racing incident. This is what happened to Ollie Ettridge and Mark Innes. A little bit of prediction code and a bit of breakdancing as well from the BMW. So,
I thought there was a gap, but turned in.
Just small misjudgment. This is Simon and Damon battling out for what will technically be second and third, I believe.
It's quite a nice sky, isn't it? I never see that. I drive in VR, so I never see kind of nice gloomy sky effects because they just don't really work in VR.
Yeah. Still waiting for rain, aren't we? So that's maybe this year. You never know. They always say.
Every time, you know, you see some screenshots of rain, and it's like the visual effect of rain is the easy bit, isn't it? You know, like they could knock that up in a week or two. The difficult thing is sort of, you know, all the simulation
the effects,
really, and all the tyres that you've got to have, like all the modelling, and it's got to be right as well. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Really hard to do it, and to get the transition from wet to dry as well. You know, back again.
Yeah, I wonder if it's part of a teaser. Maybe they put like the spectators were holding umbrellas or something. That would be interesting. Mark Zeff comes in from the lead of the Club 1500 lot and takes his pit stop. He did have a bit of a gap, but in fact Dan Hill just set the fastest lap of that split, 2:19, almost dead. So he's quickly bringing the pace up. Evans dropped down a little bit. He's getting through clubber traffic as Joe Barlow takes a spin and bump into the barrier. Gets it going again now. He's going to lose a couple of positions here. Back to this battle for second and third respectively in the clubbers. Damon's making a good account for himself on his debut, as well as Simon. So these both are new guys to our league.
The thing is about rain as well is that isn't the core physics model in iRacing is ancient, isn't it? So it was made for like some kind of NASCAR game from 2006 or something like that. And obviously somebody did a very good job at that, but it was for a game, you know, with no rain in it, and it just makes you wonder, you know, like obviously that they do sort of tinker around the edges of it, but it makes you wonder if like is the core of it this kind of black box that nobody understands in the team. It's just like that was done by like Bob 20 years ago. Nobody understands it. Don't touch that.
It's like something no one else would understand, and totally understand. Get you there, but who knows? We can always hope and pray that one day we might get it. Rick Barrow on the back of Ollie Ettridge. So, have these guys kind of combined their stables, judging by the name now?
Sort of, yeah. You know, not 100%. There's sort of they're a play on. Look, the same logo but different colours. I don't know what it really means. Like, are they sharing data or something? I don't really understand what it means in real terms apart from just a name.
Perhaps some team orders going on there. I think Ollie must have known that Rick's on another mission. And there's Du Gerber up into third at the moment. He's still got his pit stop to take though, however, and he's got Joe Barlow on his tail, so he's fighting with him. And Steve Pepper there in the background has just went into the pits. So I suspect he will be battling with these two also. Because we're missing, in fact, Steve Greening, Mike Messenger, a couple of others as well, aren't we?
We are, and the funny thing is they haven't gone to they haven't defected to the single seater, have they? I mean, there's a big enough field here, right? And it's got a little bit of room to grow. But I think there was just a few people that just don't enjoy kind of driving these boats, you know, because they like their more sprightly single seaters.
Yeah, they're like vehicles that you can throw around, definitely.
Yeah, so twitchy cars.
Yeah. Still, all the top 6 of the top split are still to pit. So it looks like they're all going to try and run until the tank runs dry. Suspect that won't be too long as we approach 33 minutes into the race.
I think it's obviously Line kind of pitted. He probably thought, I'm being a bit held up here by this battling, but sometimes it can feel like you're being held up, but you're also getting a tow, and the tow's kind of compensating for the for you have to let off a few places.
Yeah, I totally understand. Yeah. Don Parker still holding on to 3rd position as Mark Innes sets his fastest lap of the race. This is Stephen Maxwell, who's teamed up with Dan Shaw this season, coming into the pits for 4X Racing.
Finished my trifle now.
Ah, excellent. Onto the wine, are you?
I was simultaneously having the wine and the trifle. I've been switching my mic off every time with a spoonful. Not a spoonful of wine, that would be weird.
And of course, we don't advocate drinking and driving because you might spill your drink.
Or your trifle.
Or your trifle, in fact, you don't want to be trifling.
Covered in cream and custard,
Might be a bit of a messy drive, definitely. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Simon might be our 2nd ever Italian driver. Of course, the first being, I believe, Nicola Lee, who, of course, we know from the single-seaters. So a couple of people in the pits. That looks like both Gerbers are in the pits now.
Yeah, they must be getting ready to pit now.
Yeah. This is Mark Zeff. He's technically in 1st position for the clubbers. It's just Dan Hill who's got to make his stop, which will no doubt give Mark back the position. As we see Chris White, who's taken his pit stop up against, that's Sean Clark, who's still to pit. And actually we've got, that's Pepper in the background there. He's lurking around. He'll be trying to catch up to White. Yeah, that is indeed Steve Pepper. Might see his son James also appearing at some point this season, so it'll be great to see them both. Here they come. The pit lane's about to get a whole lot busier. We see Walker, Harding, Parker, and Innes just coming in as well.
There's really not much between them, is there? I mean, it's a similar gap from Walker to Harding as from Harding to Parker.
Yeah. Innes is doing not too bad. He's not been totally overwhelmed. He's a few seconds down the road from the rest of them. As Ollie gets away. That gap looks like it's closed a little bit after the pit stops. That's David Lyne. Wow. Looks like he's lost a bit of time, hasn't it?
Yeah, I haven't been looking at what laps he's been doing, but he did get a little bit held up at the beginning. He's also quite bad at pit stops, and I suppose also he had that slowdown he had to serve after Rob went off.
Of course, yeah. So top 3 are Walker, Harding, and Parker. Looks like the line might be a good 5 or 6 seconds back from those lot. Innes, Maxwell, Conception, Shaw, Gerber, Miller, Barrow and Etris make up the top split, and it looks like all bar Clark have made their pit stops in the clubbers. So at the moment it stands as Zeff, Mitchell, Hill, Garau, White, Pepper, Gerber, Barlow, Meesters and Clark respectively. Don Parker's still just about holding on to Harding.
Yeah, it's definitely not like he lucked into a good start and then started dropping back. He's got their pace, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's Simon Garau's fell down the order a little bit there, so something's happened to him. Dan Hill's managed to get ahead of him, so there's a nice little battle going on here for second position in split. Yeah, Mark Innes made up 6 positions. Wow, what's happened to Rick Barrow? He's just went straight off.
I shouldn't laugh, but Rick, what's happened? I don't know. He doesn't like this BMW, does he? I wish him more luck with his BMW. He's stuck with it now.
Yeah, he's had a bad luck with his choices. Wow, it looks like was there a disconnect or something with his wheel?
Well, it looks like his actual wheels on the car disconnected.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, possibly a disconnect of some kind. Yeah. Very, very rare you see a car
maybe
on its own going to the barriers in the Kemmel Straight.
Could have spilled his trifle.
Yeah, it could be that as well. I wouldn't want to be cleaning that up. But Paul Gerber on the back of it's Pepper, I believe. Does look like a South African inspired livery he's got there. We will need to ask him at some point. Conception and Shaw are pitting. That seems... of course Dan Shaw might have been the last one to pit. Yeah, it's interesting. So Parker's closed that gap slightly to 0.6.
One thing, I know that Dom, if you're listening, it would be lovely somehow if we could see instant points. I know I've kind of asked about that in the past, but if we can see what instant points are on, because I just saw Lee go really quite wide there, and and it's a big part of the racing. Sometimes you end up, somebody ends up near their limit, and they start having to drive conservatively, right? And then you can see somebody else like sort of going to overtake them and thinking, oh wow, that person's driving really fast. It's like, no, the other driver is being conservative.
Yeah, that's a point to consider. Yeah, definitely. It's how risky they can drive. Do you try and save some of those off tracks and use them towards the end, or do you go all out and try and use them for position near the start?
Yeah, I mean, if you're in control, then you would absolutely use them as jokers, right? But if you're really on the edge, then you don't. Yeah. And as we just seen, Parker close right up to Harding, so he's only 0.3 behind. So he's great start for Dom. And that gap between Walker and Harding is now extended to 3.2. Line is about 5.5 seconds off of Parker. I think it just set at 2:17.9 though. That's surprised that's not catching up the guys in front unless they're yeah.
Oh, and Dom Parker might be making a move here. He's going to try and close Harding in. Harding shoves back a little bit. Dom has to do it around the outside. This will be a brave move if he gets it done. He does indeed. Well done, Dom. That's a great move.
That's where he did Rob, wasn't it? That's where he did Rob, I think.
Yeah. That's like the 4th overtake we've seen at that corner around the outside. So, where normally the inside line seems to be the optimum. Mark Zeff's got a 21-second lead. I assume that's because Mitchell down to White really have been battling together for second position. He's managed to run away with what would be the win in the clubbers. It looks like Dan Shorts must have taken a second pit stop because he's dropped down the order a little bit. Barrow is listed as out or in the pits. So Lee Harding's got a bit of work to do to get that second position back. Dan Shaw going past Chris White. I guess White was just letting him pass, knowing that he's not in his split. that would be something useful in iRacing, and I assume it's possible that you'd be able to kind of manually assign splits, but within the same kind of class of car. They've never done it yet, but it would be good for league racing. Well, for us anyway, at least.
Ryan brought it down.
Yeah,
to
about
by second,
half,
but it's not enough time left really. See what the lap times are. 2:19, 2:17.9 for line, so he's caught up. Yeah, a fair chunk, but not enough time left really.
Yeah, Ollie Ettridge trying to make a move now on Meisters, and they come together there. That's it.
Maxwell 2:17.9 as well. Shame he must have spun earlier on.
Yeah, he must have had an issue early on. He's never quite got up to the top, but new season and all, I expect him to at least get a podium or two.
He seems to have the pace. He just doesn't seem to, have.
Yeah, seems to always get caught in the odd incident, doesn't he, or spin. It just kind of brings him back. So that battle for second place in the clubbers is still ongoing. Mitchell Hill and Garau still battling away. Now this is a question: is Dom still going to hold off Harding? Both been very wide there.
At this point in the race, you're just going to defend for your life, aren't you? Really? I mean, earlier on, you just going to turn in.
Yeah, maybe. Meisters didn't quite see Ollie on his inside there, and looks like he was turning in for the corner.
Didn't read that, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully didn't do too much damage. No, he's had the tow, I can see from the standings. So it looks like Mitchell's just going to hold on to second place, so he's barring any mistakes. But the battle is still on for third and fourth between Hill and Garau. Harding is 0.4 away from Parker, so there's still time left for that to change. And Maxwell's only a second behind Innes as well, so
I can see Dom taking. I was about to say I can see Dom taking some really defensive lines here, and then he just didn't. He was he's confident enough there just to not do it.
Yeah, it's like try it if you dare. Absolutely. So this will likely be the white flag lap, as we see Barney waving in the background. At least I hope that's a flag he's waving.
Fastest lap for Harding, 2:17.7.
Yeah, that's getting quicker.
Whether or not it's legal, I don't know, because this system doesn't necessarily equate to what laps iRacing understands being legal.
Yeah, I can see Line was getting a little bit close in the background, but I think it's too little too late. It's probably need another 3 or 4 laps enough for those two to battle together to catch up.
I'd say longer than that, maybe 20.
Yeah, so it looks like Parker's just got enough of a gap. Half second through the midsection is normally enough to keep them at bay. Rob Miller, yeah, what could have been for him had it not been that spin.
I mean, obviously he got sort of double overtaken, but he was still in there with a shout. Sometimes it's hard, isn't it? Because you have a bad lap, you get overtaken by a couple of people, and you just, I don't know about you, but I can't kind of it's all over, I'm just gonna park it.
Yeah, I think it takes a certain character to kind of have that patience, and particularly when it's that kind of red-blooded environment where you're racing to the max. It attracts people who perhaps don't want to kind of hold back and think, there's going to be another opportunity, but you do find them occasionally. So this is Maxwell on the back of Innes. We did foresee that might be a battle on the last lap, and it has come to fruition. So I wonder if Mark's going to be able to hold Maxwell off here.
Dom's got this. She's
gonna
just
he can sit it on the apex.
He's got this. That's good. He's got that.
Yeah, there's no way for Harding to squeeze through as Ollie Walker takes the win in season 6 round 1. Well done to Ollie. great effort, very consistent. Don Parker taking a great second place, closely followed behind by Harding, and David Lyne setting the fastest lap of 17.692 on the final lap. And that was Maxwell just losing it on the final corner, so that means that Mark Innes takes 5th position. And Mark Zeff takes the win in Club 1500. Well done, Mark. That was a good solid performance and sets the standard to catch up to for the remainder of the season. Stephen Maxwell takes 6th position. That's a little unfortunate on that final turn. Damon Mitchell takes 2nd position in his debut for the league. Great result, Damon. And we'll hope to have you back for the next race. Dan Hill takes that final podium slot. And there goes Simon in 4th. That's a solid start for him as well. Evan takes 7th position, and it looks like the others will be following behind just shortly as they all do celebratory donuts. Yeah, bit of a weird race in some aspects. Some people losing control of the car, where it kind of made their race kind of, I don't know, fall apart, but still, that's just the start of the season. So we do have the results. Ollie Walker wins ahead of Don Park and Lee Harding on the podiums for a top split, with David Lyne at 4th and Mark Innes in 5th, followed by Maxwell, Conception, Shaw, Gerber and Miller. Mark Zeff takes the win in Club 1500, followed by Mitchell, Hill, Garrow, White, Pepper, Gerber and Barlow, all on the lead lap. And there's Ollie Ettridge, who I assume had to pit after his incident, as well as Rich Meesters. And there's Sean Clark, Rick Barrow, and James Pepper did come into the session, but unfortunately couldn't start.
Heavy amount of attrition there, really. Like, that's over half the top split with major mistakes.
Yeah, it's a bit of axe to clean up there. And of course, there will be no difference at this stage of the season in terms of any position changes, but you can see the points there. David Lyne setting the fastest lap, so that's why he's not on 30 points. He's got 31. Any particular drivers you were impressed with so far today?
Dom. Really?
Yeah, got to agree with that one. It was a very competent performance from him. I wasn't expecting that. Not that he isn't a competent driver, but in terms of improvement, I think he's definitely up there.
The pace, really. I mean, there was just a few like Rick obviously had pace, but he binned it 3 times, and Evan as well, like leading the race, binned it. So lots of people with front running sort of promise, really. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, it's going to be interesting how that plays out across the season. Mark had a good start to the season in the clubbers. All the rest of them kind of got either into battles or little incidents. I think that's what caused them to fall down the order a little bit. But it's going to be there. I noticed in the clubbers they're all very, very close on pace, so that's going to be a great little battle for all the positions from top to bottom. Really, they were not too far behind each other, so it's going to be who can keep it kind of clean or error free across the season.
What's the next race? Is it like is it Rod
Skogging in Norway?
I can never say it properly.
Yeah,
I've had a good go at that, and I don't know, maybe it's a setup I'm using or something, but I'm finding it quite hard. To not spin it, but also just the amount of slowdowns you get. I think there's going to be a lot of slowdowns. Wow.
Right, so I haven't practiced that one at all, so I better get practicing. Yeah, so that's going to be an interesting debut in Norway for the GT3. So not much of a space to kind of overtake, is there? I would have thought.
I think people are going to overtake. People are going to overtake when you get a slowdown. When you so then that's just going to be constantly switching positions based on who's had the slowdown.
Yeah, game of chess. All right, so that wraps things up here at Spa for another season. We'll no doubt be back there shortly. So if you want to say goodbye, Dave.
Oh, goodbye. Sorry, I was just having a sip of my wine.
Perfect. All right. Join us from our website, or even hop onto our Discord. The links will be no doubt in the description. It's us from Spa. Goodbye for now.
Night night.